Under the soft gray skies of Barbados, a chapter quietly closed in Rihanna's life, a chapter that, though filled with complexities, was rooted in deep familial ties. On this solemn day, the global superstar returned to her homeland not as the icon revered by millions, but simply as Robyn Rihanna Fenty, a daughter laying her father to rest. Rihanna arrived in Bridgetown in the early hours, stepping off a private jet with A$AP Rocky close by her side. Clad in understated black, she was nearly unrecognizable beneath her wide-brimmed hat and dark sunglasses. Yet, her aura remained unmistakable. There was no media fanfare, no red carpet. This was a moment far removed from the flashing lights and award shows. It was intimate, painful, real. Carrying her youngest in her arms and holding Riz's hand tightly, Rihanna's movements were both graceful and heavy, as though each step carried the weight of memories both joyful and troubled. The presence of A$AP Rocky provided a sense of steadiness. Known for his unwavering support of Rihanna both publicly and privately, he played his role quietly but powerfully, not as a superstar, but as a partner and father standing firmly in solidarity with the woman he loves. The funeral took place at a small church nestled in one of the quieter districts of the island. Friends and family gathered in hushed reverence, many too emotional to speak. Despite her global fame, Rihanna ensured the ceremony remained deeply personal and rooted in Bajan traditions. Hymns were sung, stories were shared, and tears flowed freely. There were no paparazzi, only the sound of distant waves and the occasional rustling of leaves stirred by the Caribbean breeze. Her father, Ronald Fenty, had a complicated relationship with the singer. Their past was marred by conflict and misunderstandings, often spotlighted in headlines. But in recent years, Rihanna made peace with the man who had shaped part of her early life. In interviews, she had once spoken of forgiveness, saying, "You don't get to choose your family, but you do get to choose what you carry." And today, she chose to carry dignity, respect, and remembrance. At one point during the service, Rihanna approached the front of the chapel to read a letter she had written. Her voice, though soft, trembled with emotion. "You were never perfect," she said, "but you were still my father. And I carry parts of you in me, the stubbornness, the fight, the fire. I hope you've found peace now, wherever you are." After the service, the family made their way to the burial site, a small plot surrounded by tropical flora, where Ronald Fenty would be laid to rest beside his ancestors. Rihanna stood in silence as the casket was lowered, clutching her children close. Rocky placed an arm around her shoulders, grounding her as she said her final goodbye. What stood out that day wasn't the spectacle of a celebrity farewell, but rather the quiet resilience of a woman mourning in her own way, away from the noise, surrounded by the few people who mattered most. For Rihanna, this goodbye was not just the end of a physical presence but the closing of a difficult, formative chapter. And as she walked back toward the waiting car, head held high and her children safely in her arms, it was clear that while grief had touched her deeply, so too had growth and grace. In true Rihanna fashion, she grieved not for the cameras, but for herself. And in doing so, reminded the world that beneath the glamour, she is human, a daughter, a mother, a partner, and above all, a woman navigating love and loss on her own terms. Thanks for watching and see you guys on the next video.